Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking the Flash episode, The Exorcism of Nash Wells. And I gotta say, this is a pretty good episode. Um, Probably gonna be the last Flash we get for a while, given what's going on, like production on just about everything in Hollywood and in Vancouver has been shut down because of the virus. But still, let's kind of get right into it. Short stuff first. The Mirror World plotline, still not especially interesting to me. I do think it's I did like that Eve is apparently at least able to put her hand through the mirror and interact with the real world to some degree. Presumably, she just can't leave all the way. So that's interesting, if nothing else. The black hole subplot is continues to pick up steam. Um, I did like seeing Captain Singh again. Is it just me, or does it look like the actor had put on some weight? I don't know. I mean, I'm not exactly in a position to criticize somebody too terribly for that, but I'm just noting. Um, Now they do bring up that whole thing with, oh, there's a mole. Well, dollars to donuts, it's going to be that female police officer that Joe was talking to because they bothered to give her a name, and yeah, yeah, I don't think we've ever seen her before, except maybe in one other episode. I think she was introduced for the first time like last episode, and here, if you didn't do it before, they give her a name and Joe talks with her a little bit, so that we're reminded that she exists. And again, this is just kind of classic setting up some character that the audience doesn't really care about to be the traitor. That way you can't just go, it's like, oh, it was this person. Well, who the hell's that? I mean, there's no emotional punch to it. But still, this is almost certainly going to lead up to a moment where, like, she's just like, oh, gee, Joe, I'm sorry you figured out that I was the mole. Too bad. I mean, we've all seen that a million times on TV before. I don't know. I mean, they could have done a lot more things with that were interesting, but just the economy of storytelling is always a factor. And yeah, I occasionally drink stuff out of measuring glasses because I just happen to have that sitting around handy and I only wanted a little water. Um, so the villain in this episode, Sunshine, is somebody from the comics. Not anybody I know. I don't have any particular opinion about the character. I mean, her powers were cool, and she was obviously a pretty good bad guy. She was a formidable person. Just having her name be Sunshine is kind of takes away the menace. I mean, Peekaboo is a character with interesting powers, but her name is kind of ridiculous. But anyway, the main stuff with, okay, Reverse Flash has possessed Nash, and we got to deal with this situation. That was really done. I mean, anytime you get to see Tom Cavanaugh cracking on full force as Eobard as Reverse Flash, it's good stuff. I mean, you can tell he has a lot of fun with that, and oh boy, he's good. And I really love the way they used music in this episode. The other week, I actually sat down and listened to. I was just for whatever reason I was in the mood to listen to the full Flash theme, and the YouTube algorithms put up the Reverse Flash's theme. So just for fun, I sat down and listened to that too. And it never really clicked with me just how much you hear that helicopter sound for when he does that, the vibrating thing with his hand. And you hear that in his theme music. Of course, he does do that in the show, but if you listen to the music, you hear that a lot. And it's like the music in a video game where you hear like the music that indicates like, oh man, something really terrible is about to happen, or oh man, some monster is about to attack you. It kind of reminds me if you ever played Persona 3 and you hear the chain sounds that indicate that you've screwed around too long and now the Reaper is going to come and try and kill you and you need to get out of there or you're probably doomed. It's that feeling whenever you hear that little helicopter sound in the Reverse Flash's theme. And I did like how this episode kind of gave us Cisco a chance to sort of, tap into his friendship with Harry and use that to help Nash. We got to see Barry confront Thawne again and really laid it out to him. It was like, hey man, nuh-uh. You don't scare me. I've dealt with you before, and we're not going to let you win this one. We're not going to play by your rules. And, and um, when Nash ultimately does kind of get control of himself back, and and Thawne is exorcised, it's very, very satisfying. Of course, Tom Cavanaugh hams it up delightfully. Um, Good stuff. I mean, before when he's gloating about the usual "oh, I'm so evil," and when he gets his comeuppance, it's all great stuff. Um, though you got to see once again, some crazy light show has happened around Star Labs. How in the name of God the city has not demanded, the citizens of Central City have not demanded this place be shut down, I will never know. But I did like at the end that like nobody for even a second thinks that this is the end. Like nope, nope. He's gonna be back. It's only a matter of time before one way or another, Thawne comes back to haunt us again. I did appreciate that degree of savviness. To be fair, when he popped up in the past before, it made sense that they were surprised. Um, like Thawne always knows how to find a way to wiggle out of his room because nobody knows time travel as well as he does. Nobody knows the Speed Force as well as he does. That's that's really his two real great advantages. Um, he is undoubtedly a better scientist than Barry. He is, by his own standards, a genius among geniuses. Like the advanced people of the future are probably way smarter, more way educated than people of today, and even among them, Thawne was a giant of an intellect. And as we've seen, he's no slouch in personal combat either. I mean, he's again not up to the level of Oliver or anybody like that, but he can definitely hold his own as just a pure, unarmed physical fighter. So Thawne is always, always a dangerous person. And never forget that he is utterly ruthless. But he is an incredibly egotistical and selfish person. And that's what always gets him in the end. Like, Thawne is ultimately... Like, I mean, he briefly teamed up with Damien Darhk and Malcolm Merlyn. But even then, that was an alliance of convenience that he spent most of the time trying to make them into his lackeys. The thing with guys like Thawne is that they're always ultimately out for themselves. They are never willing to sacrifice for anyone else. Team Flash's advantages is that they are willing to sacrifice for each other. And that's what really gives them strength. Thawne, because he's unwilling to sacrifice for anybody, he's unwilling to seriously care about anybody. I mean, we know that he's had some fondness for Cisco. He had some fondness for Caitlin, for Nora, even for Barry. But ultimately, Thawne is all about himself. And that means that he's, in some ways, extremely limited to what he will do, what he can do. He can't really depend on anyone else. And, strength united is stronger. Vis unita fortior. Okay, I don't know why I said that in a funny accent. That's a Latin expression that I came across on the internet one time. And it stuck with me because I liked it. And it reminds me of the old United States. That's the old United States motto before the modern one. The original Latin one, e pluribus unum, out of many, one. Anyway, so now we did get to find out, what was going on with Allegra's doppelganger in the other world. She's not Nash's biological daughter, just kind of a adopted daughter, somebody he found while out exploring somewhere. It was kind of a rushed backstory, but okay, it works. You kind of have to make do with the amount of time you have. So they didn't have a lot of time to flesh Maya out terribly as a character. I'm sure there's some people who are bringing up the whole women in refrigerators thing in regards to this. Well, that is always a very loaded term and a very loaded idea, but the observation that it is rooted in, that female characters are more likely to be killed off for the advancement of the character or storyline of a male character than a male character uh, is a valid one. Gail Simone, when she made this, wrote this article years and years ago for comicbookresources.com, which coined that phrase, she was making a fair and astute observation. Of course, as has been noted by other people over time, this has basically turned to something that somebody's going to start shouting anytime a female character gets killed off in fiction. Now, that's not a dismissal. There are definitely some cases where that certainly does feel like it. Is this one of those cases? Well, I think it's too early to really tell. Maya never really had anything going on outside of her relationship to Nash. She's dead, and that is the big thing. Whether or not her death has serious consequences or repercussions with Allegra, I think is going to be the deciding factor. You know, how does Allegra relate to this posthumous character that she's never even met? So in that regard, there is some potential for redemption of this idea. But still, I think this would be one of those cases where that accusation would hold more water than some other ones, some other instances that I've seen. And that's really all I'm going to say on that topic. Anyway, guys, I have some other things I need to do, so I am going to leave you here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Who's Your Jedi. And until next time, take care and have a good one.